Hello, hello, welcome, please come in. It is time for the final game in the Flying Types Only series, Pokémon Violet. You know, one of these days, Generation 10 is going to come out and I'll actually have to decide on a final game for the series instead of just defaulting to Violet. Oh well, that is a later problem. For now, it's time to wake up, grab my stuff, and head out the door. And it's starter selection. So, I guess I'll go Quaxly? None of these are flying type, but Skeledirge is the only Pokemon I can give Nemona that isn't weak to flying attacks. Although since she always terrestrializes her starter after the first fight, I guess Quaquaval could also work. Oh well, too late to think about that now. Oh, and the attentive among you may have noticed, the game is playing like a video game should. And that is because I bought a Switch 2. Partly so my Pokemon footage looks better, partly because I have impulse control issues. And that means the game runs like a video game should. Gaze upon the performance that should be the bare minimum. Huzzah! Anyway, now that the basic tutorials are done, I can catch my first actual flying type, Hoppip. Grass flying, and we've already seen in prior series how effective grass-type moves can be. Then a Fletchling, though it takes a few to get the ability and nature I'd prefer. It's normal flying for now, but it will get the fire-type later. Then just a little bit of grinding. I need to get through a couple fights before I can get more actual Pokemon to use. Speaking of, fall off a cliff, give this motorcycle dragon a sandwich, and it's through Houndoom Cave to get back onto the path forward. And that means it's time for the first, and actually only, Arven fight, in which he has a squirrel, and nothing else. So that was easy, moving quickly onward, because that fight unlocks a decent tutorial area with a bunch of new Pokemon. And none more valuable than this, Flamigo. Flying fighting with a very good stat total for this early in the game. Get in my party, please. Sadly, that is kind of the last flying Pokemon I can get, at least for now. I mean, I could catch a Magikarp, but it won't evolve until a bit later, and I already used a Gyarados in Emerald, and I usually try not to repeat Pokemon unless absolutely necessary, and that shouldn't be necessary. Anyway, first proper Nemona fight, she leads with Fuecoco, so I switch to Fletchling. I'm so unused to her leading her starter because she only does it in this fight. Anyway, once Fletchling drops, I can switch into Flamigo to finish off the Fuecoco. Okay, yeah, Hoppip's move pool is pretty good. Oh, right, Terrapami. That's actually a little bit scary. Okay, we're good. Flamigo will 2-shot, and even Terrid, Thundershock is a 1-shot. Flamigo doesn't evolve, so its stat total at this point in the game is much higher than it honestly probably should be, but I will take it. Time to get introduced to Team Star, who I will be completely ignoring the entire playthrough, then into the school to get the normal, boring, and entirely too long introduction to all of these characters. People, I am on a deadline. Can we move this along just a little bit faster? Okay, finally, introductions are done and it's time to catch some new Pokemon. First on the list is Starly, another flying normal type, but Staraptor can be very strong. Then I need to hunt down a female Combee. Not strong by itself, but Vespiquen is very good. And that should be more than enough to tackle the first gym. This starts with the Olive Roll, which is shockingly not easier in this version. The frame rate may be better, but the physics are still just as much of a disaster as ever. But completing that gets me to the first gym leader, Katie, the Bug-type specialist. And my team is all flying type, so I lead with Flamigo, because it is strong, Terrestrialize immediately, because why not, and I spam Wing Attack. Pause, so I have time to actually show the fights, and the gym is a one-shot sweep, which is about what I expected. Okay, time to head east, and ooh, Rookidee, another flying type. That should be very good. Corviknight Steel typing should be very useful. Oh, or a Choreo. I'll catch it. I don't think I'm going to use one, but better to grab it now just in case. And while leveling up, Starly evolves into Staravia. We love a good evolution. Okay, time to hunt down some Sunflora, easy enough because they just hang around. And fighting them is also very easy because again, flying types. And that means it's time for Brassius, a grass-type specialist. This game is really kind to flying types right out the gate, huh? Anyway, Flamigo can one-shot both of his first two Pokemon. And while Sudowoodo does have a rock move, it doesn't actually deal that much damage, and Flamigo can survive its attacks to finish the fight. And that is 2 gyms down in a comically easy fashion. Gotta love it. Anyway, taking out Brassius means the level cap is now up to 24, which means, among other things, it is time to grab some new Pokemon. First on the list is Murkrow, which has a nice flying dark typing, and then Wattrel, which can have Volt Absorb, which I will need for the next gym. Would you like to guess how many Wattrels I needed to catch to get Volt Absorb? 7. I had to catch 7 Wattrels before getting a single one with the ability I wanted. And its nature isn't even good. Good thing I can fix that later with a mint. My goodness, that was incredibly unlucky. Anyway, time to do some leveling. Hoppip evolves into Skiploom, which is nice, then Fletchling evolves into Fletchender, dropping the normal typing for Fire. And Rookity evolves into Corvisquire. That was actually all from the same battle. That was kind of wild. Honestly, the biggest downside to doing runs in Violet is I can't cheat in rare candies, and that means I actually have to do grinding, which is kind of tedious. And I am not excited about the next gym, because it is the Electric Gym. And my team is very weak to electric moves. At least Skiploom is neutral and Wattrel absorbs them. But before I can do the gym, it's time for another Nemona fight. I lead with Skiploom and fail to put Rockruff to sleep. One day I will remember that this has Vital Spirit. Good news is Bullet Seed can take it out in one turn anyway. Nemona then sends in Pawmi, which also goes down to some Bullet Seeds. Ooh, Leech Seed, we do love being criminals. Skiploom drops to Crocolore, so it's into Flamigo, because it's my strongest Pokemon, and I don't actually have any better matchups. But thankfully, Terra Flying Wing Attack is enough to bring it down. Okay, another pretty easy Nemona fight. And that means it is gym time, which basically just means find this professor, do a pretty easy trainer battle, and repeat. They do all have electric types, but they only have like 2 each, so it's fine. Oh, Combee evolved into Vespiquen. That is a nice upgrade. So that means it is time for Iono. I lead with Skiploom. It's neutral to electric moves and can set up Leech Seed. Oh, Pluck. Yeah, I kind of forgot about Pluck. How's Flame Charge do? Fine, but not great. Oof, big problem is this Belly Bolt. It's both very tanky and gets powered up from attacks. Wattrel can do decent damage to it thanks to Volt Absorb, but it's still not much. Okay, thank you, Flamigo. I also don't really have anything for Luxio. I really need some ground moves on this team. Okay, that is Luxio down, but I only have 2 Pokemon left and neither are great, particularly when Iono's ace is Mismagius. Honestly, Double Kick does pretty good damage, but it's not good enough. This fight is going to be a problem. But while I think on that, let's do some quick side stuff. First up is taking out Cloth the Rock Titan. Completing this is pretty easy thanks to my Skiploom having an okay grass attack, and while doing this does take a while, because cutscenes, it also unlocks the speed boost, which will ultimately save a decent chunk of time. Next up, it's over to this rock rolling path to deal with Bombardier, the flying titan. Part of this is because it will give swim, but it's actually because Bombardier is a flying type Pokemon with rock moves, and once you beat a titan, you can immediately catch that titan, and it has Rocky Payload to boost the power of rock type moves, which is huge. So, let's get this Bombardier leveled up and head back to the gym, and now I can lead with Bombardier. Terra immediately to get rid of my electric weakness and take out Wattrel with Rock Throw. Huh, my damage is a lot worse against Belly Bolt than I would have expected. Skiploom comes in to put the Belly Bolt to sleep and take out the last of its health, and then it's a sleep switch into Vespiquen, who does nothing. Okay, let's send in Wattrel, who does manage to take out Luxio, but now it's time for Mismagius, which is very scary, and the fight is over. What is my new plan? Bombardier is a good addition, but it wasn't quite enough. Okay, so I did try that fight a handful of times, and it just was not working at all. Belly Bolt is just too tanky to quickly take out, and Mismagius is too strong. I need to change up my strategy, somehow. And that starts by heading over to this area and grabbing Drill Run, a very strong ground attack, and teaching Tailwind to Bombardier for some extra speed control. The other problem is my setup is limited by constantly getting paralyzed. Let me see if I can find a berry for that. And there we go, a person bear. Okay, hopefully that is all the setup I need to actually win this fight. Electric Gym Leaders, bane of my existence. Start by taking out Wattrel with a Rock Throw. Belly Bolt comes in, and Drill Run does less damage than I'd hoped. Wow, Belly Bolt is very tanky. I need Bombardier for later, so it's into Wattrel to slowly finish off the Belly Bolt. Volt Absorb is very good. In comes Luxio, and that is Wattrel down. So I can switch into Bombardier to finish off the Luxio with Drill Run. So I will have 5-ish Pokemon, and Mismagius is all that's left. But I know from experience, that might be enough, and Bombardier goes down before I can set up Tailwind. Skiploom, you come in next, and it manages to fight through confusion to put the Mismagius to sleep and set up Leech Seed. Okay, so that means I really just need to survive long enough for that to kill. Downside is Mismagius has Hex, which is really strong, and even Terra Grass Mega Drain can't keep Skiploom alive. So it's time for Flamigo to earn its keep with Detect, which can double the number of turns it survives by canceling out attacks. Which would work better if Flamigo would stop hitting itself in confusion. Hopefully that was enough. Vespiquen is pretty tanky, and there we go. Leech Seed ate through the Mismagius' health, and this stupid gym is done. Oh, Wattrel evolved. Heck yes, we love even more stats. Hopefully, that is the hardest fight I have to do in this game. Otherwise, oof. Anyway, Gym 3 down, I can now head over to the Asado Desert. Here I can grab a Rufflet. Not sure if I'll use it, and I definitely won't be using it for a while because it doesn't evolve until way too late. Then it's over to Porto Marinada to beat up this jerk, which is fairly easy thanks to his water attacks not being super impactful against my team. Then a quick auction, and it's back to Cascarafa to face down the 4th gym leader, Kofu. But first, leveling, during which Skiploom evolves into Jumpluff. Anyway, Kofu leads with Veluza, I lead with Bombardier, and 2 Thief attacks take it down. Okay, easy enough. Yeah, I'll take Rock Tomb. Next up is Wugtrio. It's close because Wugtrio is fast, but Bombardier also wins that matchup thanks to Rock Tomb. Unlike Iono, Kofu only has 3 Pokemon, which is weird. So, next up is his ace. And Bombardier should go down immediately, but doesn't? And manages to get off 2 Rock Tombs. Kilowattrel can then come in and incredibly overkill it with Electro Ball. And that's Gym 4, which was so much less painful than Gym 3. Okay, let's hurry through Glaciado Mountain to finally reach the best leveling spot in the game. My party is pretty physical, so the chances you can get over here should be pretty easy to beat up for levels. Does Flamigo learn any good attacking moves? Oh cool, Fletchinder evolved into Talonflame. Nice! Ooh, Staravia into Staraptor. That gives me Close Combat, which is such a good fighting type move, it's almost certainly going to overshadow Flamigo and its terrible move pool. Okay, leveling done, it's over to Medali, then to the restaurant to order the special menu item, and it's now Larry time. He leads with Komala, who drops to a single double kick from Flamigo. Then out comes to Dunsparce, who is a bit more durable, but not that much more durable. Flamigo did get paralyzed, but that's fine, it took out 2 of Larry's Pokemon. Flamigo then immediately drops to Aerial Ace. Not a surprise, so it's time to send in my own Staraptor. Facade hurts, but Close Combat hurts more. Let's switch into Bombardier to reset Staraptor's defense drop and set up Tailwind. And just win, I guess. Alright, that was Larry down. And that means it's another Nemona fight. I still lead with Flamigo because I have no choice, but good news is she leads with Lycanroc, and that is Lycanroc down to a few double kicks. Palmo is next. I do deal decent enough damage with Wing Attack, but then drop to Thunder Shock. Good things to Raptor has Quick Attack. Next in is Gumi, a very weak Pokemon. 1 Close Combat is enough to take it out. And we're already at her final Pokemon, Skeledirge, which can be frightening with Torch Song, but I don't think there is any way it can outspeed anyone on my team. Bombardier, please slow it down with Rock Tomb, and then into Kilowattrel to finish it. That is another Nemona battle handled. Back to Mesagoza, I can now buy the best sandwich ingredients. Yum! Oh, I should probably unlock better jumping. It's definitely not necessary, but it is helpful. And Talonflame can win this fight pretty easily. And then more cutscenes. Then over to Montanevera to complete the gym trial, which is very easy, then back to Chansey grinding. Hooray! The tastiest sandwich ever. Corvisquire evolves into Corviknight, a huge upgrade thanks to the added Steel type. Corviknight will be very helpful very soon. Trust me on that. Oh, and I can grab a Dusk Stone in Montanevera to evolve Murkrow into Honchkrow. Another good Dark type, just in time for the Ghost type gym, should be pretty useful. Alright, let's see how Rhyme does against flying types. I lead with Bombardier and Honchkrow, because obviously, Rhyme's Spinette goes down turn 1, nice. That gives me a boost to attack and special attack on both my Pokemon. So, well, let's just do that again. Houndstone is also down because obviously, and out comes Rhyme's Ace Toxtricity. I Terra my Bombardier to remove its electric weakness and boost Thief's damage even more. And Toxtricity goes down in 1 hit thanks to the Terra and the buffs. Mimikyu does live the first hit because of Disguise and then goes down. Well, that was comically easy. What's next? And that means only 2 gyms left. So it's over to Alfrenada to do the next Nemona fight. I once more lead Flamigo against her Lycanroc, and get flinched. At least I managed to land 1 double kick to deal big damage. Or 2, because Affection saves the day again. Out comes Pawmot, who is now faster than Flamigo, so it's into Bombardier to use Drill Run. Huh, kind of expected that to deal more damage. Let's go into Talonflame for Quick Attack, which is not strong enough. This is actually going pretty badly. Time for Acrobatics, which deals big damage because no item, and another Quick Attack to take down the Pokemon. Okay, all that's left is Skeledirge. This is a bit more frightening than last time. I just have fewer Pokemon, and a lot of fire weaknesses on this team, come to think of it. Let's Terra Vespiquen, so no fire weakness, and then use her new Power Gem. It's weaker than I'd hoped, but Torch Song also dealt less damage than I feared. And that is Skeledirge down. Alright, time for some weird workout routine, and then the next gym leader, Tulip, who is a psychic type, and I do have a good number of dark types. I lead with Corviknight and immediately click the wrong move, so that's a great start. Anyway, Corviknight resists all of Farigiraf's moves, so I can set up some Hone Claws to boost attack and then deal big damage with Power Trip. Espathor comes in and gets one shot by Power Trip. That's some good damage. I really should have given Corviknight leftovers. Oh well. Next, it's into Vespiquen to use Attack Order. Damage is good, but not good enough. The Quick Claw? Okay, Vespiquen, I see you. Time for Tulip's Ace, and Vespiquen is down. Into Bombirdier to set up Tailwind for the speed boost, then a big Thief hit, and Bombirdier goes down. But Honchkrow can come in, Terra for no real reason, and hit a Night Slash thanks to the Tailwind boost, and that is Gym 7 down. And that means only one gym left, and it's the Ice-type gym, so yeah, not super worried about this. I have to do this silly sliding down a mountain thing, but then it's time to face down Grusha. And this should be pretty easy. He leads with Frostmoth, which is 4 times weak to fire. Next up is Titan, which is actually pretty tanky, especially with its ability. Oof, and it has Liquidation. At least Flare Blitz deals good damage. Okay, into Flamigo, who can double kick. Out comes Beartic, who can survive a double kick, and wow, yeah, that was a one-shot. Bombirdier, time for some rock moves. Grusha's last Pokemon is Altaria. Oh, I should have Terra to remove my another freeze? 10% freeze chance, and I get frozen like 50% of the time. Staraptor, can you please close combat this stupid bird? Thank you. Okay, 8 gyms down, and that means it's time to prep for the Elite Four, which means starting to pick my Elite Four party, looking at all the TMs no one can learn, and adding my final party member to the team. And because I'm too stupid to just accept defeat and go get wall climbing, this took a very long time to get because I am stupid. Anyway, my final team member is this Dragonite. And yes, I should have actually grabbed the guaranteed Steel Terra Dragonite, but I'm dumb and forgot it existed until after I'd taught this Dragonite a bunch of TMs that I didn't want to have to reacquire. Look, it's fine, it's gonna be fine. Mostly because Dragonite learns just so many good moves. Next, it's over to Mesagosa to change some natures thanks to the Mint Shop, which means much better stats for my Pokemon, and then the required grinding. And that means no more messing around. It is Elite Four time. And that starts with Rika, Ground Specialist. I don't have a ton for Rika because she's the least dangerous Elite Four member, but I should be able to make it work. I lead with Corviknight, who is pretty tanky and has leftovers. Whiscash has nothing against me, so I can just spam Hone Claws. Then, into Power Trip. This move has a base power of 20, but gains 20 points for every stat buff on the user, which means Power Trip is now a base 200 power move, and my attack is at +5. Whiscash drops, then Camerupt. Donphan does live, thanks to Sturdy, but then goes down. Dugtrio is now up, and it sets up Sandstorm, which doesn't hurt steel types. And it's Rika's ace, Clodsire, which has Protect, but that is its only real move, and that was Rika, taken out by a single Pokemon. She will not be the only one. Next up is Poppy, and I can't help but notice that her Caparaja doesn't really have any good attacks against Corviknight, so let me just Hone Claws a bit. Heavy Slam is dealing pretty good damage, but Power Trip is just so strong when you can get set up. Magnezone could be scary, because Electric type, and Sturdy, but it sets up Light Screen, so my special moves are weaker, the special moves I'm not using at all. She has her own Corviknight, which is fine, and Bronzong, and finally Tinkaton. Okay, so that was Poppy. Alright, Larry is back, and now he's a flying specialist, and would you believe that Tropius doesn't really have any good attacks against Corviknight? I did teach Corviknight Protect between fights, mostly because it can help with leftover healing, but other than that, my strategy remains the same. This mostly takes as long as it does, because Corviknight is slow and Air Slash can flinch. Okay, Tropius goes down. Altaria does have Flamethrower, which hurts before it too drops. Staraptor is up next. It has Close Combat, which is neutral, but strong, and then Staraptor goes down. Not really liking where my health is at. Okay, next is Oricorio, and yeah, that was enough to take down Corviknight. Sad. I was hoping I could solo another Elite Four member. Anyway, Bombirdier takes out Oricorio and then sets up Tailwind, then Flamigo misses, and Bombirdier takes it out. Okay, I thought that would be a little trickier at the end, but that's fine. And the last Elite Four member is Hassel, Dragon Specialist. And guess what? I lead with Corviknight again. Noivern is actually pretty dangerous with Super Fang, but hopefully Protect can stretch out my leftover healing enough to get a good setup going. Noivern is down, but I didn't get quite as much setup as I'd like, and my health is low. And Dragalge has Thunderbolt. Yeah, I don't think that crit was even necessary. Okay, into Bombardier, Terra to remove its Electric Weakness, and Drill Run. Then spam Rock Slide to take out Flapple. This has definitely been the hardest Elite Four member. Bombardier sets up Tailwind before dropping, so I can send in Dragonite to finish off Haxorus, and take out most of Excalibur's health. Flamigo can then finish the fight, and that is the Elite Four done. All that's left is Geeta. Her Espathra does copy stat boost, but her only physical attack is Quick Attack, which I resist, so let's Hone Claws anyway. Oh, Lumina Crash reduces special defense. That's really bad. The stat drops don't impact Power Trip's damage, but they will make Corviknight very frail. Espathra does go down, but I'm at -4 special defense. And yeah, King Gambit 4 times resist Power Trip. Okay, into Flamigo, because it's also 4 times weak to fighting type moves. Go-Goat wastes its only turn with Bulk Up, and it's into Veluza. Flamigo has Throat Chop, which can 2-shot it. Next up is Avalugg. Fire Punch deals way less damage than I'd hoped, and Dragonite is down. Okay, it takes most of Talonflame's health, but it is able to take down Avalugg. And it's time for her Ace Glamora. I need a free switch, so Talonflame hits to deal a bit of damage, and it's into Bombardier to Drill Run, which deals okay damage before also dropping. My only Pokemon left is Kilowattrel, which manages to take out Glamora with a Discharge. So that is the Elite Four down. Not being able to set up and having no special Fire-type moves was rough, but we survive. And that means all that's left is Nemona, and I will be leading with Dragonite, for some reason. Oh, Dragon Dance Sweep was my plan. Didn't work at all, so it's into Flamigo to double kick down the Lycanroc, pivot into Kilowattrel, which takes no damage thanks to Volt Absorb. Dual Wing Beat deals pretty good damage before it drops to an Ice Punch, and then Bombardier also drops. Talonflame, use Aerial Ace. Okay, next up is Goodra, which I now have nothing for, and Talonflame goes down. Into Corviknight, which another freeze? What is happening? That is 2 for 2 freezes in this run. Good lord. Anyway, Goodra, other than freezing me, doesn't actually have any good attacks. So it's time for my old friend. How is that a third freeze? Ice Beam has frozen me 3 out of 3 times in this run. What is happening? Anyway, once I can finally get set up around these stupid freezes, I can take out Goodra. Orthworm is a lot more durable, and I didn't get nearly as many Hone Claws off as I'd like for some reason. Let's actually... Yeah, that was a mistake. Okay, Orthworm is down. Corviknight has no health, but maybe that's fine. Out comes Dunsparce, and instead of winning the fight, it uses Coil, and then dies. Okay, time for Nemona's Ace, Skeledirge, which is slower than Corviknight, but survives a Power Trip. So all I have left is Flamigo, which has Throat Chop to stop Torch Song from activating, and that is Nemona down. And yeah, that last fight could have gone better. I really should just have stuck to my winning strategy of Hone Claws on Corviknight. It's way more durable than Dragonite. Probably. Oh well, a win is a win, and it was still a first attempt, albeit barely. But I will have more to say about that in the summary video, out next week. I did want to shout out that I do have a Patreon, linked in the description. I spend a lot of time making these videos, so if you enjoyed the video, want to support the channel, and are financially stable enough to do so, that exists. No pressure though, this channel is free to enjoy for everyone, and will remain that way. For now, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you'd like to see more of this, feel free to subscribe. Hey, maybe leave a comment if you have something you'd like to say. But whatever you decide to do, have a safe trip home.